Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So the car is back from the shop. The lip from 3D Carbon has been painted and installed, and it's looking pretty awesome. And so some of the things that I actually didn't really mention too much whenever I was talking about this piece are some of the things that I actually really like about it that it's going to change in the front end. Because one of the things is that like down here there's these like little vertical struts, and I was never really the biggest fan of those, and this covers it up pretty well. I know this piece actually came out when the Fusion came out back in 2013, well, when the second gen Fusion came out, I mean. But in my opinion, it just feels like it updates the look. It makes it look a little bit more modern. Because that is something that I've been trying to do with the car, and just updating pieces here and there. And then 3D Carbon basically styled this piece, as it specifically says on the website, that it's meant to be aggressive and aerodynamic, and that's what I really like. I think it does that really well. It looks really cool, and the lines really just complement the front end because it all flows down. And if anything, you can kind of see right here, this little line that's created right here, it creates a little pocket that looks really nice, and honestly it just flows so well with the front end because it does give it a new look, but it doesn't necessarily change the look too much. I guess I really like that. I also like how it's going to be a more forgiving material. It's a little bit more malleable, so whenever you're actually scraping, bottoming out, it's going to have a little bit more of forgiveness with it, which is definitely helpful because this is my daily driver. I drive it a lot, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's seen better days. So just knowing that that lip's going to be a little bit more of an easy piece to take care of, definitely a big plus. And real quick, before getting into the specifics of the piece, I do have a pretty big announcement for you guys, and that is that as of today, I will officially be attending Fusion Flood 2021. I know a ton of you guys have been asking, and I wasn't actually planning on it, but enough of you guys nudged in the right direction, and I was able to actually feasibly go about it. So me and my girlfriend are going to be there. We're going to be making a road trip out of it. So if you see me there and I'm filming, feel free to say hi. I would love to see you guys, talk to you guys, see your cars, and I think it'd be a really good time. Remember, it is Saturday, October 9th at the GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. And it is a charity toy drive, so make sure to bring a toy. They will be donated after the event. I'm also going to put some links in the description box for some information on the event. There's merch. There is going to be a pretty cool raffle. There's going to be some custom headlights, programmed MKZ cluster swap, and even carbon fiber mirror caps from JMA Racing. So there's a ton of stuff that you can win, and it's definitely going to be a really nice event. Now, one thing that I will say about this specific piece is that the paint is a little bit different. You can't really just paint it as you would a normal body panel. Because it is a malleable piece, it's a different material. I'm not really sure what it is, but it does require a specific process to paint it, and all it is really just prepping it, because it does have this coat that makes it so that the paint doesn't really stick onto it super easily. Because I was planning on installing it myself, but that was one of the road bumps that I ran into. As I was messing with the piece, the paint was flaking off and it was warping a little bit, which was kind of odd. So I ended up not doing it myself, but we went to a body shop really close to my house, and they actually gave us a few words of advice, and they offered to install it themselves. It's because they knew this piece and they were pretty familiar with what to do with it, and they actually were able to give us a bunch of good pointers that I want to pass on to you guys, just in case you're getting this piece and want to install it yourself as well. Because 3D Carbon does have a video on their YouTube where they actually install this piece, but they don't go into too many specifics because they're installing the entire ground effects kit, not just the lip. So because of that, you can't really get too in depth, but they do give you a good guideline that pretty much matches the directions that come with the package. Pretty spot on, and just kind of tell you what to do. But there was some stuff that the body shop did actually do a little differently. So this one's more just a matter of install process. You can do it either way, but they said that they would suggest to install the piece first and then paint it, which I was completely fine with because they definitely know what they're doing. And that's kind of one of the things that I did want to like make a note of. They're a body shop and they're pretty familiar with working on cars. So I was pretty confident in letting them kind of take the reins on this piece. But they did say that it'd be a little more easy and practical to install it first and then paint it, because you don't actually run any risk of damaging the paint in that scenario. Because if it is freshly painted and installing it right after, it can get a little finicky because it is going to have to be like adjusted and kind of messed around with a little bit, and they just didn't want to risk anything happening to the paint there. So I definitely side with them on that one, but you can do it either way, as you can see in the video. I'm actually going to link the video in the top right corner in case you want to get a little bit more reference of another way to go about it, but I'm going to explain this way to you guys the way that the body shop did to me. Now, for the two things of note that were done differently, one is for the underneath. So it's a little difficult to see, but I'm going to try my best to get in here. But as you can see, there's these little tabs right here where they give you bumper tabs. You just drill a hole and you just pop it through. But in this specific instance, I'm not sure why. There was actually a larger gap, which is why they use these bolts to kind of hold it in position. It's nothing crazy. It's a pretty easy swap, but just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention that they couldn't really do it with the bumper tabs because it wasn't going to reach. There's going to be enough of a gap that it didn't actually make contact. But as you can see, it's actually fitting as it's supposed to. So that's more just kind of like a little minute detail that actually changes the way that you install the piece. Again, not super difficult, not super crazy, and it can be done pretty much anywhere. Now the next thing does deal a little bit more with the install process as a whole, and that basically comes down to the glue that's used for the piece. And that's basically just that they did not use glue. So I did ask them about it because I did want to get their thought process on the whole thing. And their main comment was that you don't really want to use glue for certain installs just because the way that it comes off and the residue that it can leave behind. So the main thing that they were telling me is if I want to take this piece off, they'd recommend not going with glue, which is definitely something that was catching my attention because if I do want to wrap the car, which I would like to at some point, this piece would need to come off because if there is glue and I'm taking the piece off, it's not really going to be the best for the car, and you do run the risk of the glue actually moving around because it's not going to hold in position whenever you put it right there. It's actually going to need a good amount of time to cure, which can actually mess up where it holds and actually ruin the fitment. So they were bringing that to my attention, and I asked them if they were comfortable enough with the double-sided tape, to which they explained that they very much were, that they prepped the piece really, really significantly, and they used some pretty heavy-duty automotive double-sided tape, so it's really not moving. And I'll actually show you guys right now that if I try to like actually budge it, it's not moving at all. That's moving is like down here. So it's really, really solid. I'm really not worried about it. And I mean, if anything happens, they can be the ones to fix it since they're the ones that really know about this piece. And it is really, I'd say, comforting in having them basically explain everything to me. And I do want to relay that to you guys, that they say that the double-sided tape is solid enough. And more than anything, if something does happen, I'll be able to tell you guys myself. Because I will be honest, I was a little skeptical of just using the double-sided tape on this piece. But it is similar to how you install the LED spoiler. You know, it's a double-sided tape application. So it makes sense why they wanted to go about it. And I do side with them in that it would actually be a nice option to be able to take the piece off if I want to, because that actually does affect what I'm doing with the car. Not necessarily in taking off the bumper, but say I do want to do something to the piece, say I want to wrap the car as a whole, that piece would probably need to come off just so I could get the best possible wrap on there. Not saying I'm going to do it right now, but it is something that I do see for the future, and I think it would look really cool on the car. But that's essentially it. Everything else is basically pretty straightforward in how it comes with the instructions. These pieces right here, I will make a note of this, that they actually don't hold on to anything. It's more they just kind of have an extension so that it doesn't pop out. I didn't actually think that it did. I kind of knew that it doesn't hold on to anything, but just in case you were thinking that it does, it actually doesn't. There's this little pocket right here, so it's not holding on to anything specifically. It's just an extension so that it doesn't like flex or come out. And the one thing that I will say is that this piece is made for this bumper. It fits really, really well, really snug, so it's really not going to move. That's one of the main factors with this piece, is that because it is a direct fit and it's more of an extension, like I said in the unboxing video, you're not really gonna have to worry about too much when it comes to specifics of the install, because it's, you know, it's gonna hold on pretty snug. It's gonna be pretty tight. Everything else is basically just kind of like that final details, that buttoning up aspect. But honestly, whenever I was just mocking it up, I was finding that it would actually hold on to the bumper itself pretty well, and all that it was really needing was just like a little pin here, pin there, and that was basically it. So I do just want to say 3D Carbon, you guys do some really, really nice work. I love having a company that's based out of Texas that I can, you know, get parts from. It's really nice, and it's very feasible for me specifically. And again, I got this piece from CD3 Performance. Troy was able to help me out with the order, got a really good deal on it, came here decently well. It did have to be made to order, but nonetheless, I think it's definitely worth it, definitely worth that custom factor on the car, just that really upgraded look, that modern look that I'm really, really enjoying. And then thank you to my girlfriend, because this was an awesome birthday gift. Thank you. So I'm loving how the car is looking. The color match is really, really solid, because that was something that actually did concern me a little bit. Because this piece does extend a little bit further, I was more worried that it would catch the light a little bit differently, more consistently, and not really match with the car. But as you can see, it looks really, really well. And next thing is actually just take the bumper off and see what I can do with that carbon fiber grill. And I should be installing that here soon and just seeing how everything goes. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I am going to put this lip to the test this weekend because I'm going to Fusion Flood, which is going to be an 18-hour drive, I believe. But nonetheless, it should be a really good time, and I do hope to see you guys there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.